Hi, this is Eric with Cacao. I'm really excited. Again, I just got back from Ecuador and I happened to bring a couple of pods back with me. This is something that not many people here have seen. They're very rare. In fact, they're so rare that even though I was in Guayaquil, which was the large city down in Ecuador, I had to travel into the rainforest typically to find the cocoa pods. But a lot of the people there in Guayaquil didn't even know what these were. They hadn't even seen them, even though they're just a couple of hours away. So here in the US, these are exceptionally rare. So we want to show you a little bit about what's inside of it and where chocolate starts and how it comes. But first of all, I want to tell you a little bit about some of the different trees. Again, I've mentioned that there are lots of varieties of cocoa beans that are out there. They range anywhere from 8 feet tall up to 25 feet tall, depending on the variety. The best cocoa beans, or cocoa trees, come from criollo beans. Criollo beans were some of the oldest, and they're the most complex in flavor. This bean that we get from Ecuador is its own classification. They believe that it had some heritage from criollo, but they're not exactly sure where it came. But one thing is for sure, it's at least as old as the criollo beans. These are definitely some of the first. These trees are about 25 feet tall. The cool thing about it, I don't know if you've seen fruit trees or not, typically fruits will grow out on the outsides, they'll grow out on the leaves and the branches. Cocoa pods can grow anywhere on the tree. This one was about 3 feet high. Picked it right off of the tree, right off of the trunk. They're very, very, very interesting. They take anywhere from 5 to 10 years for one of the Nacional trees to start producing. The Nacional trees, they can live up to 100 years. They actually live for quite a while. They're more productive in their first 30 years, but they can live for quite a while they're down there. There's another variety that they grow called Don Homero, which these are a little bit shorter. They're about 8 to 10 feet tall, but they're very, very productive. These trees are just completely covered with these pods. So that's one reason why in Ecuador they grow that specific variety a lot more. It's actually cultivated and done on farms, whereas the Nacional is most often just wild. There's no specific lines of planted trees. They're just growing out in the wild and harvested from these people who bought 300, 400, 500 acres of this jungle. Those are some of the more complex flavors because they're older trees. They're also not as specific. In the Nacional, you might actually have 5, 6, 7 different varieties that are all what they call flavor beans or aroma beans, but that those all get combined. So there's slight differences and variations in the quality and the flavor of those beans, even though they're all technically called Nacional. Now the true name is Aroma Nacional, which translates to the national aroma, which is pretty easy. But the reason is because these Nacional beans are so known for their amazing smell. I had the opportunity today to go ahead and roast some of my first samples. It is the most amazing smell. It's very, very, very different from any of the other beans that I've worked with. Eric, one of the people that I work with, he walked in today and he noted this amazing smell, and right away he's like, "What are we doing? This is different. This isn't something I'm used to." So that is one of the reasons why they're called Aroma Nacional. So let's go ahead and crack this open. Inside each pod, no matter how big it is, sometimes you'll have a pod half this big. This is a pretty good sized one. But no matter how many or how big this is, there's going to be around 34 to 40 individual cocoa beans inside of it. They look kind of gross, so don't expect something that's really pretty here. They're covered in this pulp and they come in a big bundle that looks about this big. So let's crack it open so you can see what that's like. Now in the wild, they just do this with a machete, or they'll crack it open on a rock, but we want it to look a little bit prettier for you. You ready? What do you think? It's pretty interesting. Now what I want you to, I wish you were here and you could try this. Already there's a really nice aroma. It's not what the chocolate smells like, but there's a really nice aroma coming off of these. It smells very tropical. If you eat it, You just pull it off. It's very slimy. You can feel the outside. There's probably a 1/16 of an inch covering of this pulp. And when you try it, these ones from Ecuador are very, very good. It's kind of like a tangy, sweet, tropical lemonade. I don't know if you've ever tried passion fruit, but it actually reminds me a little bit of passion fruit also. It's such a delicious snack. I wish you could try it, but again, not many people have tried these. The fun thing is I tried them in one area. I tried 5 different varieties. The pods all looked very different. And there was minor flavor in this pulp. Once you're done, you take it out. You don't want to eat the raw seed. Very, very, very bitter at this point. But the thing that's important about this mucilage is the cocoa bean has to be fermented in order for it to really, really, really enhance its flavor. So the fermenting isn't the bean, the fermenting is this. You put it together in big boxes. They're typically called sweat boxes. You may have 100, 500 to 1,000 pounds in these boxes. They all get in there mixed up, and you allow it to sit for anywhere between 2 to 7 days, depending on the bean that you're working with. And this pulp ferments, and as it ferments, some of those flavors, those really, really rich flavors, actually penetrate down into the cocoa bean, and they add some of the complexity to the different ones. So that's why whenever you have a bean from Ivory Coast that may have coconut and dark spice flavors, or this one that has banana and jasmine hints of it, a lot of that actually comes from this pulp. And so if it wasn't fermented, you'd be missing out on a lot of those really fine, complex flavors that you can have. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about the cocoa pod and where it comes from. And look forward to our next one. Again, this is Eric with Creo.